Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. So today we are going to talk about Stephen West's Winter Lights Shawl. This is the section I have been waiting for. I am finally to section 4. This will be the 4th video in the series, and we are to the honeycombs. When I first saw this shawl, I was so excited to see those honeycombs, the same honeycombs that we did in Slipstravaganza, and I couldn't wait to get to this section again and knit them in a different color. For the Slipstravaganza, we when we were doing the main center section, we did 2 colors. We alternated 2 of our colors and then surrounded it by another color. But for this shawl, he is knitting them in 1 color, but doesn't mean you can't, mix it up. I was thinking as I was knitting these that, you can do each honeycomb in a different color or alternate the colors. The way that the pattern is written is that you do the same row in the same color. This is all the same color, but you could do like color 1, color 2, color 3, color 1, color 2, color 3, and alternate them that way instead of just in a row fashion. And this is just very easy slip stitch color work. There's 1 color that you're working with on each row, but if you're going to do what I was just suggesting, that would be more complicated because you could have up to 3 colors on 1 row and you're having to manage those. This is about making it your own, so do whatever you want to do. Be creative. Or if you want to do like you did in Slipstravaganza and alternate, this section is a 6-row section, and you could alternate the colors like we did in that. Look at that pattern and figure out where you need to change the color. But anyway, here I'm just getting into the talking, and I haven't even shown you what this is. Section 4 through section 4, the honeycombs. And I'm trying to get back a little bit so you can see how big this shawl is. I am on 60-inch needles here, and I'm about to bust out of these because I really don't have room to spread this out in a proper fashion. But this is what it looks like so far, and I am loving it. I do need to finish 2 more rows here at the top, but I wanted to go ahead and film this while I still had light because if I wait too much longer, I might run into the too dim of a light to see this in all of its glory. But anyway, as you can see, what you do is you start with color 1 and knit this row of honeycombs. Then this row of honeycombs is color 2. The edging around the honeycomb is your main color, and then you have color 3, a whole row of that, and then you start again. You do color 1, a whole row, color 2, a whole row, and color 3, a whole row. And that's all that's written in the pattern. But if you have plenty of yarn and you want to go crazy and make it bigger, because this shawl is smaller than the Slipstravaganza, you could even do a whole nother row of 1, 2, 3 and make another, make 9 honeycombs for this section. I don't think it would be hard to add to it, as far as the stitch counts go. Of course your stitch count will be off, but you just have to make sure everything lines up. And this is slip stitch color work, and as you can see, I'll show the back. This is what my back looks like for this section. Nice and neat, and I wove in the ends as I went along. I think this is the end where I started. You can see I wove them in as I went along. I just haven't trimmed them. But when I trim them, it'll look nice and neat, just like the other end, where there is no weaving in of the ends. And the floats are when you get to like this part right here is here, and you can see how the floats are. They're right here, and you can see how they bunch up, but you got to knit them loose, but not so loose that they hang and dangle. And that way they stay nice and neat and don't move while you're, you know, getting in your way while you're trying to knit this. But that's what they look like, and you can see they will bunch up or be a little loose if you bunch it up like that. But you just, when you're knitting, I have a video I'll insert here. I took a short video of myself knitting these, and basically you just want to knit like you normally do. When you get to that section, you just don't want to overcompensate too tight. You don't want to cinch it up, and you don't want to leave it so loose that it's hanging. You just want it to be just like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, just right. And that way it just stays nice and neat, and you have room to block. And again, I'll try to get up here so you guys can see. Here's a float. Camera wants to focus on me. Here's some floats. Here's some floats where the stitches were slipped. Here's some float. Here's a float. There. Every few stitches, every 7 stitches you had to slip. So these are 7 stitches, and then these are 3 stitches. And it kind of helps you keep everything lined up. And that's what I was going to say, is that when you're knitting this, each section is going to line up with the slip stitches below, like this. Let me show you what I'm trying to talk about. Like when you get to this part here, or I've got to go up a little bit more. When you get to this part, doing this backwards is not easy. Okay, here, look at these 2 rows. When you get to this part here, this part right here is going to line up with this part here. So you can double check yourself. There's no charts for this pattern. There was charts for the slip stravaganza, but there's no charts. But when you get there, this stitch is going to line up with this first stitch, second stitch, third stitch, third stitch. And so you can kind of double check yourself the whole time, making sure that you don't, you know, that you do have 7 stitches here, that you haven't dropped any stitches. Again, like this section is going to line up with this section, and this section is going to line up with this section. This section is going to line up with this section. You know, anyway, I think that's all I was going to say. I just love how it looks. I love how it came out. And like I said, I was so excited to see this. And I've been waiting to get to this section. And I think it just really adds so much to the shawl, this honeycomb section. And I do have a dilemma coming up on my hands. I used yarn that was pretty, there was only 385 yards per skein, and I mentioned it in the group, like I was nervous about not having enough yarn, and they were like, oh, you'll probably have enough yarn. But after finishing section 4, this is all I have left of my main color. I haven't weighed this yet, but I know that's not going to be enough to knit. I've got section 5 and section 6. So what I'm going to have to do is I have another skein in my gradient that I didn't use, and there's parts of it that match really well, so I'm going to have to alternate it and introduce it and hope that it looks okay, because this was a special gradient that was done. I think there's only a few of them in people's stashes on Ravelry, and I wouldn't ask anybody to sell it. So I'm just going to try to make it work. Yeah, it's a micro batch, number 665, that Plucky Knitter did. So there's not very many of these. It's not a color that they do all the time. So I'm just going to try to make that work and finish the shawl up. Otherwise, I won't be able to finish it because I don't have enough yarn of that. But I'm hoping it'll look okay. I had enough yarn to finish section 4. So I'm hoping that by section 5, introducing that other color, then to section 6, it'll be okay. There's again, I just wanted to show you one more time what it looks like, how big it is. It is getting big. You're going to put it on your shoulders. You can kind of see it's starting to hang down my back here. And the rows are over 400 stitches long. and that's why I'm a little bit later in releasing this. I wanted to release this yesterday. I just couldn't get the knitting done. I tried and tried and tried. So anyways, I'm a little bit late, and I probably will be a little bit later. I won't be able to get the next section out in a couple of days. I just probably won't be able to. I'm not that fast of a knitter, and I want to enjoy the process as well. I don't want to just rush to get it done. So we'll just see how it goes. The other thing I wanted to mention is I've been talking about you guys giving me comments and interacting with me. I wanted to give kind of like a little shout out. I had a couple of comments about my Winter Lights shawl. Cindy G said that she was knitting this shawl as well, and that she's thinking about knitting the woven chevrons. And Cindy G, I would love it if you knit the woven chevrons. I'm going to do that after I finish this one, so come on, knit with me, please. I think it'd be fun. We could do it together. And then the other comment I wanted to mention is Beat Irvin. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Beat. It's Beate. And she said that she was also knitting the Winter Lights shawl, and she was using brown as her main color and something neutral, which I think sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. She said she wanted something different than her Slipstravaganza, and she gave me her her Instagram ID, and I'm going to put it in here because you guys can see it on the comments. But the reason why I want to mention it is I want you guys to take a look at her Slipstravaganza shawl. It is so beautiful. It's got all these light blues, and it's just all these shades of blue. It's just stunning. So she said she wanted to knit it in brown, something different from her Slipstravaganza. And I kind of did the same thing. My Slipstravaganza, you guys saw, looked more like stained glass with the purples and greens and pink, bright hot pink. And now I'm doing this gradient of pink. So I totally get that. It gives you two different shawls, you know. And thank you guys for making those comments. And I also want to mention that since I've started doing this series, I've gotten so many new subscribers, and I just want to welcome you guys here. I'm so grateful and thankful for each and every one of you, and I would encourage you to make comments, interact. You know, I love hearing about your knitting. I love our crocheting. I like to crochet as well. I'm not that good at it anymore, but I did start out as a crocheter, and I crocheted for a few years before I even started knitting. So I do know how to do it. I've kind of forgotten. So if you guys, you know, make comments. I love hearing what you guys are working on. And again, I just wanted to say that I'm grateful that you guys are here. And it's been almost a month since I had my last giveaway. I had my last giveaway at the beginning of December the 8th, 9th time frame. I think that's right at the beginning of December. And since we have gone over 100 subscribers, I usually give away a $50 gift card to a local yarn store of your choice, or to Amazon, or a craft store like Joann's. You get to pick. But since we just reached a milestone of over 100 subscribers, I think we should give away a $100 gift card, you know, to celebrate that. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up, and I will do a video on how I'm going to do the giveaway. That'll probably be my next video in a couple of days after this one, to announce how I'm going to do it, and give you guys a chance to participate and share with your friends who may want to win a $100 gift card to a craft store. So anyway, I just want to give you guys a heads up. You know me, I'm like a planner, and I like to be prepared. The last thing is about the upcoming projects. I wanted to mention again the Ultimate Advent Stash Buster Shawl. It had a longer name than that, but my friend Debbie said that she had to shorten the name because Ravelry wouldn't let her have the name that she had originally named the shawl. It had mini skeins knit along after that. So anyway, it's called the Ultimate Advent Stash Buster Shawl. It's starting on January 18th. Sponsored in the Never Enough Lace group. I'll put a link to the pattern page below. The pattern has been released. It was released on January the 1st, and I'm going to participate in it. You knit just like a couple of hours a week over 20 weeks, and you're using up stashes, yarn in your stash, or you can use those little mini skeins. I haven't really picked out my yarn palette yet, but I need to get on that and get started on that. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and also wanted to also put it out there again. If you guys can't afford the pattern, just let me know. Contact me. I cannot talk today, and let me know, and I'd be glad to buy that pattern for you, because I would love it if you had the opportunity to knit that and knit along with me, and let's just have a little bit of community knitting on the same thing. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And then the other thing is, I just also found out that Boo Knits is going to have a mystery knit along in February, and I'll be doing that in another video as well. But just wanted to kind of tease you guys and get you guys thinking about that a little bit. And I think I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to start trying to keep my videos a little bit shorter and not put all this stuff in one. So I think that's where I'm going to stop for today. I wanted to thank you guys so much again. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm so glad that you're here, and I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you a lot better, and knitting with you or crocheting with you, and sharing ideas and fun and yarn with you. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and we will catch you guys next time. Thanks again.